flames lit up the night sky above Moscow. A thick column of black smoke rose over the city's glittering skyline, engulfing one of Russia's most recognizable landmarks, the Federation Towers. At approximately 2:45 a.m., multiple explosions echoed across the Russian capital as Ukrainian drones pierced deep into Moscow's airspace, triggering panic, confusion, and disbelief among residents who had believed the war was far from their doorstep. Witnesses captured videos showing fire consuming the upper floors of the skyscraper, glass shattering, debris raining down, alarms blaring. Emergency sirens wailed across the business district as firefighters battled to contain a blaze that quickly spread through several levels of the tower. It was chaos, a scene no one in Moscow ever imagined witnessing, their capital city under direct assault once again. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe and like my videos. Tonight's story is nothing short of extraordinary, not only because of the damage caused, but because of what it represents: a dramatic escalation in Ukraine's drone warfare, a strike at the very heart of Russia's pride, and a warning that no part of Moscow is beyond reach. This attack wasn't just a random hit, it was a calculated message from Kyiv, one aimed at showing the Kremlin that even its most protected symbols of wealth and power can burn. According to early reports, the assault involved several long-range drones launched from Ukrainian controlled territory, traveling over hundreds of kilometers undetected until they reached the Moscow International Business Center, often called Moscow City. This area is home to Russia's financial elite. Banks, tech firms, and government offices occupy its glittering glass towers. When the first drone slammed into one of the towers, residents mistook the thunderous boom for a thunderstorm. But seconds later, windows exploded outward, flames burst forth, and the realization set in this was no weather phenomenon. It was war, and it had just arrived in the middle of Russia's capital. Within minutes, videos began circulating on Telegram and Twitter, footage of the burning skyscraper, people running from the area, and the eerie sound of anti-aircraft guns firing in the distance. The Russian Ministry of Defense was quick to issue a statement claiming all drones were intercepted, but the images told a different story. The Federation Tower was burning. The air defenses may have acted, but at least one, possibly more drones had made it through. Analysts believe this was part of a broader Ukrainian campaign to demonstrate deep strike capabilities, a psychological and symbolic move designed to shake Russian confidence. While the damage in material terms might be limited compared to the front lines, the psychological impact is massive. For months, Ukrainians have endured missile and drone strikes on their cities. Now they are turning that fear back on Russia's capital. But how did Ukraine manage to reach Moscow again? Despite Russia's advanced air defenses, the country has struggled to stop small, fast-moving drones flying low and often autonomously guided using GPS and satellite navigation. Ukrainian engineers, many of them volunteers or working with private tech firms, have been constantly improving drone range and payload. The drones used in this attack are believed to be part of a new generation capable of flying over 800 kilometers with precision guidance. They are light, fast, and deadly difficult for traditional radar systems to detect. The significance of this particular target cannot be overstated. The Moscow City district symbolizes Russia's rise as a modern power. Its gleaming towers were meant to show prosperity and stability. But in recent months, the area has been struck multiple times, each time chipping away at that illusion. To see flames licking the sides of those towers once seen as untouchable is to see a blow not just to infrastructure, but to the Russian psyche itself. It tells the world that Moscow is vulnerable. Eyewitnesses described scenes of terror and disbelief. Residents were evacuated as debris fell from the tower. Emergency vehicles lined the streets, firefighters in full gear racing against time. We heard 2 loud bangs, and then glass started falling everywhere. One resident told local media, "People were screaming, and we could smell smoke immediately. We never thought something like this could happen here." The Kremlin has yet to comment in depth, but insiders suggest that President Vladimir Putin was briefed immediately after the attack and convened an emergency meeting with his defense council. The mood inside the Kremlin, according to sources, was one of anger mixed with alarm. Each successful strike inside Moscow undermines the narrative that the Russian heartland remains safe from Ukrainian retaliation. Ukraine, for its part, has maintained its policy of neither confirming nor denying attacks on Russian soil. However, officials in Kyiv hinted that what goes around comes around. Mikhailo Podolyak, one of President Zelensky's top advisors, tweeted that the war is returning to those who started it, a thinly veiled reference to these latest strikes. Internationally, the attack has sparked debate about the next phase of the war. Western officials have often walked a fine line supporting Ukraine's right to defend itself while discouraging strikes deep inside Russian territory to avoid escalation. But as the war drags into its third year, and Russia continues to pound Ukrainian cities with missiles, many in Kyiv believe that limiting their counterstrikes would only embolden Moscow. This latest incident may push Western allies to rethink their stance. What's equally striking is how ordinary Russians are reacting. For the first time, many Muscovites are experiencing the kind of fear Ukrainians have felt daily. Social media in Russia is flooded with videos and comments, people questioning the government's claims of total security, expressing anger over constant reassurances that everything is under control. Some voices even question why the war is still being fought, now that the consequences are hitting home. The Russian propaganda machine, of course, is in overdrive. State TV hosts are calling this a terrorist act by the Kyiv regime, vowing revenge and promising inevitable punishment. Yet, beneath the defiance, there's a tremor of unease. Every successful drone that reaches Moscow chips away at the perception of Russia's military invincibility. Each strike exposes vulnerabilities not just in air defenses, but in leadership credibility. Technically, these drones represent a revolution in modern warfare. They are relatively inexpensive, built from civilian parts, yet capable of inflicting strategic damage. Ukraine's defense industry, bolstered by Western technology and domestic ingenuity, has turned to mass producing long-range drones capable of reaching hundreds of kilometers inside Russia. Reports suggest that this particular wave of drones was coordinated using real-time satellite imagery, perhaps even aided by air-based navigation to evade radar. In Moscow, meanwhile, the aftermath is grim. Firefighters worked for hours to extinguish the blaze, but not before several upper floors of the tower were destroyed. Preliminary reports indicate that the damage could exceed tens of millions of dollars. Insurance companies are already assessing losses, while businesses located inside the building scramble to relocate operations. The attack has rattled investors, with the Russian stock market experiencing immediate jitters. What's especially symbolic about this strike is that the Federation Tower houses several government offices and major corporations linked to Russian energy exports, the same revenues funding the war effort. It's as if Ukraine chose a target that embodied both economic and political power, delivering a hit that resonates far beyond the immediate fire. Experts are calling this a new phase in the conflict, one where Ukraine no longer limits itself to defensive strikes, but seeks to disrupt the Russian war machine at its core. Moscow, long considered the safest city in Russia, is now becoming a frontline of psychological warfare. Each explosion sends a message: the war is not distant, it's here. In the days following the attack, Russian media tried to downplay the incident, claiming minimal damage and full control of the situation. But satellite images and independent videos tell a different story: scorched walls, shattered windows, and smoke stains reaching dozens of floors high. Even ordinary Russians can't ignore what they see online. The illusion of normal life in Moscow is cracking. For Ukraine, these strikes serve multiple purposes. First, they force Russia to divert air defense systems away from the front lines, spreading its resources thinner. Second, they demonstrate Ukraine's growing technological capabilities and adaptability. And third, they inspire morale among Ukrainians who see proof that their country can fight back, not just survive, but strike fear into the heart of their aggressor. Western analysts have long predicted that drone warfare would redefine this conflict, and that prediction is now reality. The balance of fear has shifted. Moscow, once a symbol of control and power, is now a symbol of vulnerability. This single night of fire may alter the course of Russia's internal politics. Pressure on the Kremlin is mounting from military commanders embarrassed by repeated failures, from citizens questioning safety, and from oligarchs whose assets are now literally burning. As dawn broke over Moscow, smoke still rose from the towers. The skyline that once shimmered with luxury now bore scars of war. Cleanup crews moved in, but the damage went far beyond the physical. It struck at the heart of Russia's confidence, its economy, and its image before the world. International responses poured in. Western leaders expressed concern but stopped short of condemning Ukraine, framing the incident as a consequence of Russia's own aggression. Meanwhile, neighboring countries watched closely, aware that each new escalation brings the region closer to an unpredictable turning point. Inside Ukraine, the mood was defiant. Citizens celebrated online, calling the strike justice. Memes and videos spread across social media, showing side-by-side images of burned Ukrainian cities and now Moscow's burning skyline. It was symbolic, a reversal of roles that gave Ukrainians a sense of power in a war where they have suffered immense losses. Military analysts warn that Russia may retaliate with intensified missile barrages on Ukrainian infrastructure. Yet Ukraine seems prepared. Air defenses have been strengthened and civilian preparedness is higher than ever. Each time Russia retaliates, Ukraine adapts, learning, innovating, and responding with precision. This is the future of warfare: asymmetric, technological, psychological, drones versus missiles, innovation versus brute force. And on this night, it was Ukraine that showed the world that ingenuity and determination can pierce even the thickest walls of defense. The symbolism of burning towers cannot be ignored. They stand for wealth, power, and stability, the very image Putin has projected for decades. To see them ablaze is to see that image unravel. It's a reminder that no fortress is impregnable, no capital beyond reach. As experts dissect every second of the attack, one truth becomes clear. This war is entering an unpredictable phase. The front lines are expanding, and the definition of battlefield has changed forever. Cities that once felt safe may now live under constant threat. For ordinary Russians, the illusion has shattered. They are now confronting the consequences of a war that, for so long, felt abstract. And for Ukrainians, this night is proof that their resilience and innovation can bring the fight to the heart of their enemy. By morning, Russian officials announced that the situation was under control, but few believed them. Social media told a different story, smoke still visible from kilometers away, entire sections of the tower cordoned off, and residents demanding answers. This is more than just an attack. It's a warning that the dynamics of this war are changing, that the reach of Ukraine's defense is extending, and that Russia's dominance is not as absolute as it once seemed. As we close tonight's report, one can't help but feel that this is not the last time Moscow's skyline will light up in flames. The drone war has just begun, and it's rewriting the rules of modern conflict. From the skies above to the digital battlefields below, this war is as much about symbols and psychology as it is about soldiers and territory. And for now, those flames above Moscow are a powerful symbol of defiance, of revenge, and of a message sent across borders. The war you started is coming home.